Good afternoon, everyone. Honorable Chief Ministers, Shri E.K. Palaniswamy of Tamil Nadu, Shri Saraband Sonowal of Assam, Shri V. Narayan from Puducherry, and we are just about expecting Shri Vijay Rupani, the Chief Minister of Gujarat. He's been delayed, but he should be here any moment to join us. Members of Parliament, I'm told there are almost 30 members from Tamil Nadu who have come here from members. Let's give them a warm round of applause for that. Ministers from various states, which I welcome you all. Very important ministers have come from various states. Government officials, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a privilege to welcome you all to the 15th India Today State of the State Awards ceremony. It is also a very, very proud moment for India Today Group. I am happy to state that long before cooperative and competitive federalism became buzzwords in India, India Today started this very unique process to measure the pace of growth across the various states of the country. From 2003 onwards, it's now 15 years, we have conducted the State of the State survey that has benchmarked progress on critical issues and parameters of governance and also rewarded the top performers of the states. We realized when we began the survey that if you really break down governance, and you're all experienced on this matter now, and look at the key issues, you're dealing with vital issues that affect the livelihood of our common people. And if you enumerate that, whether it is education, whether it is health, whether agriculture, law and order, and of course the environment, and then the infrastructure requirements that you have to provide, transport, power, water, toilets now, and combined with it are the critical issues of governance and inclusive development. All these depend on the leadership and the vision of the states, their leaders, the ministers, the chief ministers, to execute and implement them. Initially, we found that the hard facts were difficult to get. In India, statistics is an issue. It's normally very dated. Those who are dealing with governance issues will notice that it's almost 3-4 years old in the past and becomes difficult to determine progress as it happens. So what we did was, rather than rely on government statistics, over the years, we expanded our net to collect statistics on these vital parameters that affect growth. It's a difficult task, let me tell you. But over a period of time, we've been able to gather, because we've been doing it for 15 years, extremely robust methods of evaluation, apart from adding criteria as to what is good development, what is good governance. Then we found certain anomalies arising. We found that certain states that had a historical and geographical advantage always won the prizes. Punjab, for instance, would win agriculture for 7 years. It was getting boring for people because they said, they will anyway win because they have such a lead over everybody else. So we decided that we would start what is called the most improved state category. So rather than just look at decadal growth rates, we decided we'd also reward those who in the last 3 to 4 years have shown extreme performance and have been transforming the state. So we now have what is called the most improved category. The other anomaly we realized was that certain large states versus small states, the small states tend to walk away with the awards because of their size and their ability to deliver quicker on some of these things. So we divided that and said there will be big states and there will be smaller states. No reflection, sir, on any terms of the importance of these states, only in terms of size. We are not trying to demean the size them by saying small states. And we said anything above 5 million population or 35,000 square kilometers will make it a large state. So that's how the awards evolved. This year, I'm happy to state that we have made it even more robust in the way we calculate and award the winners and the performance of government. We in fact, have a partner, MDRA, which is the leading research agency in the country, and they, along with almost 20 other experts that from across the spectrum, including Niti Aayog, I must say, the academicians, sociologists, economists, and others, worked out something like 13 criteria and then started giving weightages to these criteria. I'll just enumerate the 13 so that you'll know what are the awards that are going to come later. They're for economy, infrastructure, agriculture, education, health, law and order, governance, inclusive development, entrepreneurship, environment, cleanliness, with all the Swachh Bharat on, we wanted to assess that as well, tourism, and of course, overall development or all-round performance that is there. We also decided that we would make a more level playing field for a lot of states that is there and create a more balanced assessment. So for instance, Delhi or an industrial state such as Maharashtra may score low against Himachal Pradesh, Kerala or Assam in terms of environment. So to neutralize such advantages, the categories which reflected more of a state's own effort in development rather than just a natural attribute, we gave higher weightages. With all these refinements, I'm happy to state that in 2015, the State of the State Awards done by India Today is now regarded as the gold standard to assess performance of states in terms of the social, economic, and ecological health of the state. Even Prime Minister Narendra Modi acknowledged India Today's contribution recently by stating, and I quote, "India Today has been rating Indian states and giving awards to the best performing states from 2003. It has become a benchmark and others have started following that model." And being a chief minister before he became the prime minister, Mr. Modi is acutely aware that states have become the key engines of growth in the country, and he has pushed for healthy competition and cooperation among various states. This, I think, has become all the more important because if India has to sustain the record of being the fastest growing economy in the world, it has to do so for a decade or so more to lift the country out of the poverty that it is. Large pockets are doing well, but as we know, it's a long, long way to go when it comes to other areas of development. And therefore, if you look at what has been happening in the last 5 years or 6 years or even 10 years, major developments have happened that have pushed the states to the forefront of development. If you see the evolution of a new revenue sharing model between the center and the states, and of course the revolution in terms of tax sharing that the GST has brought about, is expected to spur growth by giving states greater autonomy over their finances and over their development. Yet, even as we push for faster growth of various states and the country, we all know it has to be balanced and very important, has to be inclusive. Socio-economic disparities persist, not just among our people in the country, there are wide disparities, there are wide gaps, but also among various states. Maharashtra's GSDP, just to give an idea of that difference, is more than 5 times higher than that of Bihar. The top 5 states in terms of GSDP, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu, have on an average 84 times higher GSDP levels than the lowest 5 states, Manipur, Nagaland, Mizoram, Sikkim, and of course, the Union Territory of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. But GSDP alone, as you know, sir, cannot be a measure for development. For instance, despite having a very high GSDP, Madhya Pradesh, Punjab, and Maharashtra have large populations still living with minimum income levels far lower than their counterparts in other places. States such as Gujarat have primary school dropout ratios significantly below the national average, but paradoxically, the states with the highest dropout ratios, Assam, sorry sir, I think you're improving that condition now, Mizoram, Manipur, and Meghalaya, are found in the northeast of the country, an area experiencing phenomenal growth. So despite the phenomenal growth, we still have great issues in terms of education dropouts and what needs to be done. The rate of children dying before reaching their first birthday is more than 5 times higher in states such as Madhya Pradesh, Assam and Odisha compared with the states of Goa, Manipur and Kerala. So as you can see, there's wide disparities. Despite some states having enormous growth, they still lag behind in critical social parameters, and that needs to be changed. I'd like to point out 2 or 3 more fault lines, if one could call it. There is an economic fault line that unfortunately makes 2 clear divisions in this country. There is a southern and western states grouping, and there is a northern and eastern states grouping. While the southern and western states have stabilized both in terms of population growth and have shown extremely good economic growth, steady we would call it, the north and eastern states populations continue to rise. That's a problem that they have to tackle with. And economic growth has comparatively been much slower, although we are seeing that change happening whether in Northeast, whether in Bihar. These states are now recording much faster growth. But the disparity still exists. And as a consequence of that disparity, there's some very interesting statistics that have now been thrown up through the economic survey of 2016-17 that was conducted. And among that is migration. And very curiously and interestingly, the influx of migration is not just in Assam, sir. It is in the southern states. From 2001 to 2011, migration in Tamil Nadu, Mr. Palniswamy, migration in Tamil Nadu went up by 39 times. The outflow of migrants from Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, which are the main sort of source of migrants in the same period, went up by twice that number. These two states now account for more than half of interstate migrants in the 5 years ending 2016. And think about it, an average 9 million people have migrated between states every year for either education or work. And that's almost double. If this was the number this time, it's double that in the previous decade, 2001 to 2011. So there's a phenomenal amount of migration happening. And as we know, it causes social and political frictions in several states. We have seen how Assam in the past has been riven by strife on the subject and is still struggling to sort out the issue, but to the credit of the Chief Minister here, he has ensured that in the last year or so when the NRC is out, Assam has remained peaceful and has law and order, and all credit to him. So let's give him a round of applause for that as well. So in the age of cooperative federalism, this is one of the biggest challenges for state governments. The balance is to create safety for migrants who play a big role, as we know. I'm a migrant to Delhi. My home state is Karnataka. My wife's state is from Tamil Nadu. She's also a migrant. And so to ensure economic growth, it's critical. I'm sure all of us here, many of us are migrants to Delhi, as in other states that's there. But at the same time, we need to meet the insecurity of the local residents of the state. So it has to be a combination, a balance that you can achieve. More recently, there's been another big issue that has come out, and I'm very happy that Sri Palniswamy and Sri Narayan Swamy, both from the 2 southern states, are here. And of course, Mr. George is here, as well as the minister from Karnataka, as well as Kerala and Andhra and Telangana. And if you see the southern states, the dynamics that has changed in this whole debate that is there, is that they have come together to complain against the central government's distribution of tax funds among states. And the major bone of contention for that is, the southern states I'm talking about, is that the 15th Finance Commission has used the 2011 census data as its terms of reference instead of the 1971 census data, which had been used by the 14th Finance Commission for making its recommendations of sharing funds between the states. The southern states fear that the new terms of reference may leave them with a smaller portion of funds due to its shrinking population. The leaders of the southern states argue that these states are being penalized for the successful implementation of family planning from 1971 onwards, which had led to the decrease in population. And sir, since Shri Palaniswamy is here, one of the big reasons why no one understood it, why family planning declined, why population declined significantly in Tamil Nadu, where it began to equal the ratio with Kerala itself, with no major change in, say, education and other parameters which Kerala demonstrated, was, I see Mr. Rupani here, and let's give him a very warm round of applause. The Chief Minister of Gujarat, ladies and gentlemen. Please, sir. Please, sir. Let's give him another warm round of applause. So you can sit there. So I was just explaining that why Tamil Nadu outshone everybody in terms of population reduction. One of the major schemes launched at that time when everybody actually decried it was MG Ramachandran's midday meal scheme. There's the difference that made. Everyone said it was a populist scheme. He's just trying to get votes. But because of that change that he brought about, and subsequently the ADMK followed it up, was that once you started feeding children with this midday meal scheme, their survivability increased. They didn't die early. Otherwise, child mortality is very high in this country. The second thing that happened very smartly they did was to bring pregnant women into the program. And if the mother came to leave the child, they would feed the mother also. Then what they would do when the pregnant woman was there, they would give medicines there. So that whatever, particularly when you look at iron deficiency, that is one of the critical areas of female mortality in this country. So they would give that drug there. They would also, once the baby was born, make sure the baby gets milk and all the nutrition. So automatically, one of the major reasons why population increases is when people fear that their offsprings will die. That changed, the dynamics change. And what we have seen, and that's why I think we try and do these benchmarks, is like Tamil Nadu, there are many, many states in this country, and we are very happy when we do these surveys, who are showing remarkable progress and remarkable change. The good thing about these surveys is that these states can compare and learn from each other. What was good in one state can be taken to another state and implemented. And there are wonderful examples. You see, one of the things that media has criticized is we are very sensational. We don't focus on development. The reason why we do India's Today State of Survey is we in India Today Group believe in gravitas, balance, fairness. That development might be a boring subject for TRP ratings and others, but it is critical to the development of this country. And we are very delighted when we go to the chief ministers of various states. They do not talk to us about politics. They talk to us as what they have done in terms of development of their state. They now know that these are the parameters, not your status in any other place, that your parameters in terms of health, in terms of economic progress, in terms of all these, actually makes you, people look up to you when you do those things. So that, I think, is the most healthy development that has happened. We are not taking credit for it, but we are only saying that we reward the changes that the states now focus upon. Finally, I would like to say that as one of the things that we have done, it is almost like a logical step that we did, was we decided that a lot of chief ministers came to us and said, how's that state is doing better in health? Why did that state win in education? What are they doing in agriculture? Can you tell us more about it? So we began, from 2015 onwards, we began a micro-analysis of districts. So rather, apart from the state of the states, which is a national level awards, we began a process called State of the State, where we did in-depth research at the district level. And we all know that districts are the fulcrum of governance in this country. If the districts don't develop, the state doesn't develop. If the state doesn't develop, the country doesn't develop. So if we could find parameters, we used the same parameters, but we expanded it, made it more micro in our approach, and we began giving awards to the best districts in the various states. I must say that it has created a tremendous movement that is there, because firstly, again, these are apples for apples, so one state can compare with the other, and district officials who felt that they had done good work are being rewarded for that good work. They would tweet it, they'd put their pictures. The chief ministers would be very proud because they are the ones they're implementing, so are the ministers in charge that have done that. I'm happy to state that we have done 9 states so far, And these go right across to Jharkhand, Uttar Pradesh. Sir, we came to Gujarat, and you were there when we did the State of the State. Rajasthan, Karnataka, Mr. George is here. He was there present when we did that there. Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and Bihar. Unfortunately, the Chhattisgarh Chief Minister couldn't come. He fell ill in the morning. He was to also join us, and we wish him speedy recovery on this. But we have done 9 states so far of the State of the State, and we intend to cover all the states with this micro-analysis in the next 5 years. So what we would have is at the national level, very good data as to why states are progressing, and backed by state-level data to show how districts are making the change. So we would have some of the most comprehensive data that would be there, and we believe that this is very useful to all the states that come and participate in this thing, in the award function, because it gives them a barometer for understanding development. With these few words, sir, we are very, very privileged to have with us 4 chief ministers, Mr. Vijay Rupani, Mr. Sarabanda Sonowal, Mr. Palaniswamy, Mr. Narayan Swamy out here from their respective states, among the smartest of the chief ministers in the country. Each of them have their own story to tell, their own mantra to tell. Let's give them a warm round of applause. And sir, we look forward to your various things. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.